4. Why habitual conflict avoidance is a problem. So how can avoiding conflict be an effective strategy and a problem at the same time? Most of us avoid conflict out of habit. A habit is a learned behavior based on an earlier formed belief and past experience that if you avoid, ignore, deflect, you will be safe. As a child, I learned to keep my mouth shut for fear of provoking my grandmother, who believed discipline came through physical, psychological, and emotional threats. I learned to avoid conflict at all costs, and as a result, it became an early behavior pattern that continued into my early adult life. Unfortunately, I allowed fear to control my interactions with others, even strangers, when confrontation or differences appeared. This fear of conflict and confrontation resulted in a conflict-avoidant habit that prevented me from voicing my concerns or asking for what I needed. It made it difficult to make even the simplest decisions, stopped me from taking risks, and resulted in missed opportunities. Fear prevented the development of the kind of deep and rich relationships I wanted in my life with friends, family, and coworkers. A habitual pattern of conflict avoidance often contributes to the downward spiral of relationships, whether they are one-on-one relationships, teams, or whole organizations. Fear can hurt productivity, contribute to stagnation and apathy, be a barrier to decision-making, and actually escalate disputes, thus eroding trust and shaping people's negative perceptions. Scenario: a former coaching client was a senior executive and a self-proclaimed conflict avoider. She shared how her inability to make a difficult decision to confront a serious problem with a top-producing salesperson turned into a 6-year downward spiral in their working relationship. The executive was unable to 1. Confront the problem early on, 2. Give the employee direct feedback, and 3. Set clear expectations around his behavior. The salesperson brought the company millions of dollars, yet the high cost of his destructive behavior and miscommunications with other team members resulted in low morale and strained external customer relationships due to the employee's public quarreling. The senior executive's ability to lead effectively was compromised, and her reputation and credibility were at stake. We explored the growing consequences for the leader, teams, and the company's public image if this went unresolved. We also examined the benefits to her and others if she kept proceeding in this manner just to avoid a confrontation. The remedy was to help her learn to stop the downward spiral by confronting the sales employee, the very thing this senior executive was fearful of all along. She realized that if she didn't confront her fear, he could continue to be rewarded for his behavior because he produced the high dollars. But the costs for others were high and outweighed the revenue he brought into the company. As a result of conflict coaching, the senior executive had the difficult conversation with her employee, clearly stating expectations about what were acceptable and not acceptable workplace behaviors. The senior executive also knew for change to occur, she would need to consistently provide positive feedback, constructive criticism, and apply consequences if his conduct did not change. With a plan in place, the senior executive gained confidence in her ability to give feedback and help the sales employee reach an acceptable level of behavior.